'87 was the Jays' first year.
Hey, Blue Jay fans. We have actual baseball to talk about. Blue Jays Talk for All, and it's free admission. So find your seat and enjoy the views from the On Fek Circle. Presented by JFtC.com and always available on the Jays from the Couch YouTube channel. This misadventure streams live Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Can be followed on the Jays from the Couch Facebook page and on Twitter at Jays from Couch. And the On Fek Circle is just one of the YouTube channel family of shows. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, you should put your Blue Jay colored glasses on to watch Sunny Side of the Dome, hosted by my colleague Karen Suter. No one talks Blue Jays baseball with the knowledge and heart that Karen does. You can't resist listening to all she has to share. But both of our YouTube shows, and they are YouTube exclusive shows, would not be possible without the Jays from the Couch radio podcast, hosted by senior editor and founder Shaun Doyle. We record the podcast live Mondays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is available for live streaming on Mondays on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page as well, and on the aforementioned Twitter handle at Jays from the Couch. Plus, you can download all 290 episodes anywhere you find finer podcasts. Blue Jay fans should also make a daily visit to JFtC.com for quality Blue Jays coverage and articles no other site can provide to Blue Jays barrackers. Lionheart, great to see you. Good day, Fek. It's always a great day when I can talk baseball, especially Blue Jays baseball. And I'm dressed up. Okay, I'm dressed up and ready to go. We have a big announcement coming up here, in just a second. Isn't it great to actually be talking baseball? Even if it's things that we know may not happen, it's just that fun way to do it. I think it's just fun now to be able to have real stuff to talk about and not have to deal with contracts and negotiations and all that stuff. We can talk real baseball. And that's what I live for, really, to be honest with you. This is a dream come true for me, to be able to not only write about and talk about a Major League Baseball team. I've had a lot of journalistic experience going back to high school. Starting as a freshman in high school, I was a stringer. I've worked in radio starting when I was 16. I've been in various markets, Buffalo, suburban New Jersey, upstate New York. I was able to work with major indoor soccer league teams in Buffalo and in Pittsburgh. Somehow I never got around or never got the opportunity to write or have shows about baseball. And to have it be the Blue Jays, my American League team. Basically, since they came into existence, I was cheating on the Red Sox when the Blue Jays got expanded in, and then I became a full-fledged Blue Jays fan. It's truly a dream come true, and that's why I always want to try to make this show a conversation. It's not me. It's not just me. Okay. Yes, I represent Jays from the Couch. I get to do this, but let's make this a conversation. Every time, and in every show, anything you wanted to talk about, pop in your questions, whether it be on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We'll try to get them up as part of the show. Most often, you make more sense, certainly, than I do. So do not be shy and do not hesitate. Now, the big reason for the tie and for being all wound up here is that Jays from the Couch is proud to announce the first season of the Jays from the Couch Fantasy Baseball League. Now, we're going to conduct this league using the Yahoo Sports platform. It offers lots of flexibility. I have found it to be the most reliable and most user-friendly. You don't have to have a Yahoo email address to participate. You can join. And if you go looking for the league on Yahoo Fantasy Sports, you're not going to find it. It's going to be by invitation only. So what we're going to do is, starting tomorrow morning, If you want to set the alarm for 12:01, wherever you might be in the Eastern time zone, or figure it out that way, you can send an email to fecklesswonder@jaysfromthecouch.com. You can also send a private message on Twitter @fecklesswonder and let us know whether being part of our fantasy baseball league is something that really excites you, something that you want to do. I mean, we have tentatively set it for 14 teams. We can make it a little bit larger, which makes it more challenging as far as reducing, the free agent pool. You really need to know what you're doing when you're setting up your team originally. We can make it smaller. It's going to be based on what the response is. But it's going to be a great way for us to have baseball conversations every day throughout the season, not just whenever the podcast is on or I have a show or Karen has a show. It's a terrific opportunity for you to be part of the Blue Jays from the Couch family. I'm really excited. I'm super excited about it. Obviously, everybody wants to win. I mean, that's the goal in every type of thing. And should you be a winner, it's going to be we're going to make it worth your while. Our senior editor and founder, Shaun Doyle, is going to donate a package valued at $300 of Jays from the Couch merchandise. So, I mean, that alone should get you, jotting down. Again, it's fecklesswonder@jaysfromthecouch.com is the email address. You can send your requests in, or you can send me a private message @fecklesswonder on Twitter. On top of that prize package, which is just terrific, an extremely generous prize package that Shaun has offered to put up, we are also going to make donations, not only for each division winner of $50 each, but also $100 for whoever wins the Jays from the Couch series in under the playoff format, in the winners' names to ALS Canada. As you may know, JaysFromTheCouch.com, at the bottom of our website, you'll see a way that you can donate to help our effort to raise funds to defeat truly one of the most hideous diseases on the planet. It's something that touches my heart. I've worked virtually all of my life with that. I've been directly affected. Shaun Doyle's family has been directly affected by the scourge of ALS. We want to do whatever little thing that we can do to try to eradicate it, or at least make it more manageable and a little bit more treatable. So not only will you get the Jays from the Couch prize package, you're going to be able to make a difference in all of our fights against ALS by having a donation in your name made to ALS Canada. So again, we're really excited about this. Again, it's the first season of the Jays from the Couch Fantasy Baseball League. We hope to keep this going year after year after year. So once again, starting tomorrow morning, it's not live and active yet. Starting tomorrow morning, you can send an email to fecklesswonder@jaysfromthecouch.com, or send a private direct message on Twitter to @fecklesswonder. What we want to do is we want the Matt Sweebies and the Lionhearts and all of the people that interact with us during our live podcast recordings, during this show, the On Fek Circle, during Karen's show. We want all of you to be first in line, because we want to thank you. This is our way of saying thank you for making our shows part of your routine. But just because you haven't participated before, or interacting live is just not your thing, that does not mean that you can't be part of this. So again, the email address, starting tomorrow morning, Feckless Wonder at JaysFromTheCouch.com or a private message on Twitter at Feckless Wonder. We will love to have you join us. The more the merrier. We would probably going to have to cap it off at some point at maybe no more than 20 participants, but that doesn't mean, our Shaun Doyle, our founder and senior editor, is going to be part of the league. I'll be part of the league. Shaun's son's very, very first fantasy baseball league. He's going to be part of the show. We also have we have Matt Sweeby, who is a regular listener to us, has already signed up, so he will be part of the league. Just a terrific opportunity for us to get together outside of live broadcasts and talk baseball and just have a good time. That's what it's all about mainly, is have a good time. Winning, $300 prize package, donations in your name to ALS Canada. But overall, it's the camaraderie. Okay, Jays from the Couch is a family. And we want to share these good times with your family. So we're really excited to announce that. I'm sure you'll see little things throughout time if we don't get an immediate response. We want to get as many of you involved as possible. So I guess I should really do a show now. Really, I could end here, and it might be my highest rated program ever, because there's not really me talking. I'm just introducing the Jays from the Couch Fantasy Baseball League. But it's been a while since we've been able to talk actual baseball stuff. We are going to introduce a new segment tonight called Blue Jays Bedtime Stories, where we're going to take some kind of either obscure or really fascinating or fun aspect from Blue Jays history and kind of just relay it and talk about it a little bit. We're going to start off, as I often do, with some feckless wonders. Now, I wonder who the fans are going to turn on first should things not go the way we all anticipate it to go. I'm not trying to skew negative here, but I'm just fascinated, I guess because I'm so involved in social media, not only here with Jays from the Couch, but in various projects. And people get really worked up. And the frenzy around baseball being back, and the fact, that the Jays have already made moves before the lockout. They've been active since the lockout, and everybody keeps thinking, Freddie Freeman, or Jose Ramirez, we're going to trade for him. It just seems to be a nonstop stream of that. Regardless of who comes, who goes, whatever it would be, who are the Blue Jay fans going to turn on first? Is it Charlie Montoyo? Is it Ross Atkins? Or is it individual players they're going to target? And the main reason I bring this up is because Shaun Doyle had a terrific article on JaysFromTheCouch.com earlier this week that talked about Charlie Montoyo now being asked to do even more than he has accomplished in his years as the Blue Jays manager. He's no longer there to help develop, the young core of talent, the Vladdies and the Bows and Biggio and Teoscar Hernandez and Lourdes Gurriel, Danny Jansen, the pitching staff. That's not what he's being asked to do now. The Blue Jays are a contender. They're a legitimate contender. More and more sites are starting to come around, and they're projecting that the Blue Jays are going to win the AL East. And I don't think that's a far-fetched projection. I know some early projections came out, and they had the Blue Jays, not even finishing, in the top three in some cases, which is just ridiculous. But the Blue Jays are a contender now. It's almost like a Pinocchio situation. You're a real boy now. This is the last year of guaranteed contract for Charlie Montoyo. If something goes wrong, or the Blue Jays don't make the playoffs, he is not going to be the manager in 2023. And that's not a knock against him. I know that I've been very vocal since I joined Jays from the Couch with my hashtag Fire Charlie Montoyo, because I do have concerns about his in-game strategies. I used to really harp on his handling of the pitching staff, but I think it's been made more obvious from the 2020 playoffs through last year that a lot of the pitcher usage decisions are being mapped out by the analytics department and by Ross Atkins and his staff and then handed down. That doesn't mean that Charlie's pushing buttons or that there's strings attached to him. That's not, I joke about that, but that's not really the case. But I would imagine he would come under some heat if he was totally ignoring the reports that are coming down from the front office. So it's a big year for Charlie Montoyo. But can he be, the new Cito Gaston, a guy that comes in, helps turn the team around, and takes the team not only to the playoffs, but to a World Series, and ideally a World Series title? It's not out of the question. I don't think that Charlie Montoyo is Cito Gaston, but then again, Cito Gaston wasn't exactly a master strategist. He was great at analyzing talent and creating a roster and creating a lineup, but he then just let that lineup go out and play ball. There wasn't a lot of stealing going on or sacrifice bunts or squeeze bunts or all these fancy strategies that, some managers employ. There wasn't even a whole lot of platooning. I mean, there was some. I mean, in the Bobby Cox days and when Jimmy Williams, in the early, to late 80s, there was a lot more platooning. But Cito Gaston, boys, go out there, play your game. Pitchers, I'm giving you the ball. Don't worry about coming out until I come out to the mound to take you out. Just pitch your game. Montoyo's not going to have that kind of flexibility, I do not believe, because of the embracing of managed playing time and managed lineups and pitching rotations and pitching usage from the front office. But, I mean, he's in a position, he's got so much talent. I would dare say that Charlie Montoyo has more talent to work with now than Cito Gaston did prior to the big deals in the offseason of 90 going into 91, where they got Joe Carter and Roberto Alomar and Devon White, and that they started adding free agent pitchers. Right now, as a base, Charlie, the Blue Jays have more talent than those teams that Cito Gaston inherited and took over in 1989. So I can see Blue Jay fans, if they get off to a slow start or whatever it is, I think the chirping is going to get really, really loud. No pun intended, Blue Jays fans, but they'll be chirping. Or are they going to blame Ross Atkins? Again, am I a big Ross Atkins fan? No. Has he done a great job with free agency? Yes, he has. He's done a terrific job with free agency. Free agency is a methodical approach to roster construction in a lot of ways. You don't need to give away prospects. You don't need to give away existing players. I think that plays to Atkins and Shapiro to a lesser degree, but that plays to Atkins' strength. Does he overthink things sometimes? I think that he does. But he's done a great job with free agency. And that extension that he negotiated with Jose Barrios, yes, it's a reflection of how comfortable Barrios is in Toronto and how much he wants to be part of this. But Barrios, every time he was asked, he loved it in Minnesota. He said, nope, I'm going to free agency. I want to test free agency. Yet somehow his mind was changed by Atkins, and he signed a 7-year extension. So that's his strength. Trading, he made the trade for Barrios, giving up 2 prospects. Great trade. It is to be seen. When people talk about, we need to go out and get Jose Ramirez or Matt Chapman or Sean Manaea or whatever name you want to throw out there. Luis Castillo from Cincinnati, since they seem to be breaking everything down now. I don't know that that does play to his strengths. But that's to be seen. But again, if they struggle, or God forbid they don't make the playoffs, are people going to start calling for Ross Atkins to be accountable? And what players are we going to lash out at if things don't go right? I mean, the first candidate I can think of is Hyun-Jin Ryu. Why? Because he was a big free agent, and everybody wants him to earn his money. Well, he has earned his money because he came in to a young team, provided stability in the rotation, and that instills a confidence level for any of you that have played sports on any kind of competitive level, especially baseball. If you've got somebody out there, if your pitcher's doing your job, or it's your goalie in hockey or whatever it would be, you just relax. You naturally relax and you feel things are better. But I can hear it. Oh, he's getting $20 million and he can only pitch 5 innings. And, he wastes so many pitches early in the at-bat and blah, blah. That's the kind of pitcher he is. Ryu knows 2 pitches ahead of time what he wants to do, and he's going to set that up. That's why Danny Jansen is such a terrific catcher, because he just doesn't, he lets Ryu do what Ryu feels he needs to do, and rarely will override him. That's the first guy that pops in my mind. Another guy that I can imagine Blue Jay fans would start turning on would be Nate Pearson. Amazingly talented young pitcher. He struggled with injuries. He struggled with confidence. If truth be told, I think his confidence was shaken in 2020. Everybody has attached, their dreams to this young core. Vladdy, who struggled, in 2020 before having an MVP season last year, regardless of who the voters. He was the AL MVP. Bo Bichette. Teoscar Hernandez has surprised, I think. I think he's outperformed expectations for many of us. But, when people don't meet those expectations, suddenly that's an easy person to pinpoint and blame. Say, see. And honestly, if they do add a Freddie Freeman, he's going to be under the microscope right away. So we'll see. Again, not to be a downer, but I wonder. These are things that I wonder, and that's why I like to throw things like that out there, not to get you upset. I just want you to think. Think about what I'm saying, so that when your initial instinct is, what is this dope talking about now? You can go back and do a little bit of research, think it through yourself, and confirm the fact, what? The Feckless Wonder is a dope. Or, I don't agree with them, but it's an interesting concept or an interesting thing to think about. So, that being said, time now for Blue Jays Bedtime Stories. Now, again, I'm not going to put you to sleep while we're going through these. But story is a key part of history. The Blue Jays have been around since 1977. Many of you weren't alive or old enough to remember what was going on. I happen to be that old. So that's one benefit that I bring to Jays from the Couch and to you, is that I've literally been able to witness or look at every box score since the Blue Jays came into existence. It's easy to get all wrapped up in what's going on. But, it's important to look back and remember what has happened. And tradition is such a big thing in baseball. So now our first bedtime story, once upon a time, there was an even nastier labor negotiation that occurred during Blue Jays history, and that was the strike of 94-95. The owners were absolutely united, except for the Orioles owner, that there had to be a salary cap in place. They had to control salary escalation. When there was no movement, and that was the thing, the players will never go for a salary cap. They called the strike in August of 94. Negotiations went nowhere. Then Commissioner Bud Selig, an owner himself at the time, because he was acting commissioner, canceled the rest of the season, canceled the World Series. Even if talks advanced, it got to the point where it didn't make sense, so they canceled the season to show that the owners were united. Row. Heading into the next spring, there was still no movement. U.S. President Bill Clinton even tried to get involved, and both sides blew him off. So the owners came up with this idea. Well, just use replacement players. Nobody's going to notice. And even if people are angry, if they're going to the game to pay for us, to pay the money there, we're going to show the players that we can do it without them. So they figured even with replacement players, the emperors could still wear fancy, tailored clothes, but the nakedness is actually their greed. How does this affect the Blue Jays? Well, the Blue Jays legally could not field a team with replacement players because there is an Ontario law that prohibits the use of replacement workers in non-essential settings to replace players or workers that are either on strike or going through an actual recognized contract negotiation. So technically, if they went to replacement players, the Blue Jays were going to have to play in Dunedin. They were going to have to get permission for then Grant Field to be approved as a major league facility. And the renovations are just amazing. But I mean, I remember Grant Field in the 80s and 90s. It was not a major league ballpark in any way, shape, or form. So there was that. But then the Blue Jays decided that they were not going to force Cito Gaston and his staff to work with replacement players. So yes, they were at the Dunedin complex, but they were on the backfields working with the minor leaguers. And Bob Didier, who was the son of Mel Didier, a longtime Blue Jays scout and former Major League catcher. He was the manager for all intents and purposes. Now, thankfully, it never got to the point of using replacement players. The owners had an unfair labor practice ordered against them. That, in essence, ended the strike because that was in place. Players agreed to come back, and we had a baseball season. But this is something, as a Blue Jay fan, you should be proud of your organization because no other organization was doing that. Now, the Tigers did. Marky Anderson said, I'm not going to manage replacement players. So the Tigers kind of let him out of it. But, they were going to use replacement players. There are times and there are events and there are things that make you proud to be a fan of whatever team that you root for. In our case, it's the Blue Jays. And some of them are, Joe Carter's walk-off homer in the World Series, Steve finally throwing a no-hitter after having multiple, chances to do so. The 2015 playoff run after Alex Anthopoulos went just absolutely crazy, bringing players in and adding to make a push to the World Series. But there are more impactful real-life things, like spring of '95, when the Blue Jays said, no, we're not going to make our field manager, our field staff, work with replacement players and alienate not only the staff themselves because they didn't want to do that. A lot of them were former players, but also, alienate the fans and alienate the players because their manager and the coach had their backs. So that's our bedtime story for this week. Next week, we're going to talk about the Toronto Giants. More details on that. But in the meantime, thanks for listening. Don't forget, Wednesday morning, Feckless Wonder at jaysfromthecouch.com. You can sign up for the first annual Jays from the Couch Fantasy Baseball League on the Yahoo Sports platform. I'm the Feckless Wonder, Steve Fek. Don't forget, most Thursdays you would have Sunny Side of the Dome with Karen Suter. She's down in Dunedin. She's behind the scenes, kind of checking things out. No games yet, but she's kind of checking things out for us. I'm sure she'll have great stories when she comes back next week. Every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Shaun Doyle hosts the Jays from the Couch radio podcast. Lionheart, good night. Hopefully you will consider, as all the people that are watching this little misadventure, to join the Jays from the Couch Fantasy Baseball League. I'm Steve Fek. I'll be back next Tuesday with more bedtime stories and more great Blue Jays talk for all. Thanks for tuning in.